folks, and welcome to the Horror Corner. Welcome home, boy. You found your way back to where you started. Your journey is now complete. Good evening, folks, and welcome to the Horror Corner. I'm your host, Sean Erschen. This week we are doing another movie review. This is Phantasm 3, Lord of the Dead. Released in 1994, written and directed by, of course, Don Coscarelli. Starring Reggie Bannister, Angus Scrimm, the return of A. Michael Baldwin, and Bill Thornberry from the original 1979 classic. Yes, so Phantasm 3, Lord of the Dead, was released direct-to-video, unfortunately. Because Universal Films did not want to distribute the film. I guess they had kind of a falling out with Don Coscarelli. Which is unfortunate that it didn't get released to theaters, and that's how the rest of the franchise went. All the rest of the franchise went direct-to-video, which sucks, you know. You wonder if it would have did well if it got some good promotion behind it, you know. And I remember seeing in the video stores when it came out on VHS, and the box looked so cheesy. I'm like, damn, what happened to this franchise? But when you watch the movie, this movie actually had a $2.5 million budget, which is more than the others, you know. Yeah, because when you think about the original film, only had $300,000 budget, you know, and look what they were able to accomplish. And when you watch this film, it's not really apparent that it's much lower budget or anything like that. It feels like the other two films quite a bit, you know. In this film, definitely the spheres are more prominent, you know, the balls. There's like 1,000 of them in this one, whereas only a few little scenes in the first couple movies. Yeah, you see them quite a bit, and there's more like CGI in this film with the spheres. But it's done pretty well, you know, this movie has some pretty good effects. For a direct-to-video movie. It's got some nice CGI and some good gore effects. You know, there's some zombie carnage in here, you know. Yeah, so what happens in this film is it picks off right where Phantasm 2 left off. And, yes, we see A. Michael Baldwin returning in the role of Mike Pearson, where they replaced him in Phantasm 2 with a different actor. Now they brought him back, which is kind of funny. And then the way they set it up is pretty seamless too, because where Phantasm 2 left off in the hearse, that's where this one picks off, and we see Mike and his girlfriend in the back of the hearse, you know, when the tall man says, "No, it's not a dream," you know. So we see the hearse blow up. Reggie, like, jumps out of the car, and the hearse smashes and blows up, and we see that Mike did survive. You see him laying on the ground. His girlfriend, however, did not fare as well. We see her face getting eaten by one of those little dwarf things that look like the Jawas in Star Wars. I love those things. Yeah, they're a lot of fun. We see a lot more of the Jawas in this one, too. And, of course, we see Reggie back with his quadruple barrel shotgun. There's one hilarious scene where the Jawa things are chasing him. They hide up in the trees, and Reggie Bannister takes the quadruple barrel shotgun and goes boom, and one by one they drop. 1, 2, 3, 4. Like, nice shot. But the tall man does return, and he does manage to capture Mike and take him to his lair, which is, of course, this huge mausoleum. And we get to see some more cool scenes in the mausoleum. But in the meantime, Reggie is on his own now, with of course, the classic 1970 badass black Barracuda that he had in the first two films. Love that car. What happens is he meets a couple new friends on the way. You know, he finds this deserted town that the tall man just destroyed this whole town. There's only like a couple survivors. And he meets this kid, Tim, who I guess, you know, that his parents were killed by the tall man. And he meets this chick, Reggie, who's like this badass chick that knows karate, and she's got the nunchucks. Such a fun character, yeah. So I like Rocky a lot. And he's always trying to get with Rocky, you know Reggie, how he is. He's always trying to get with the girl, but he never gets lucky, you know, it's the same kind of thing here. And we also see the return of Jody, played by Bill Thornberry from the original film. And what happens with him, we find that he was taken captive by the tall man and encased in one of the spheres. So his mind and body and soul are inside the sphere, and he comes in this form of the sphere to contact Reggie and tell him about what happened to Mike. You know, that we gotta save him from the tall man. You know, so he kind of guides Reggie to the tall man's lair, and he takes him to the portal thing, and so he opens up the sphere, and that shows him the portals. A couple cool scenes there, you know, where this weird blue thing opens up from the ball, and he goes through the portal thing, you know. Very cool. Some pretty cool special effects in this movie, surprisingly. You wouldn't expect that from a direct-to-video, you know. Because this probably should have been released in theaters, you know. It really should have. And of course we got Angus Scrimm returning as the tall man. He does an awesome job, and he's got a lot more to work with in this film too. He's got some great lines, got more dialogue. He's as menacing as ever, you know. And what his plan is in this film is, once he shrinks down people after killing them into the dwarf creatures, he removes their brains and puts them in the sphere things. And he turns their bodies into like zombies, and then their minds are controlled by the sphere, and they're just killers, you know, which is pretty cool, you know. And then we see that in one of the scenes exactly what he's doing, you know. Very cool. And yeah, there's thousands of the spheres this time, you know. And yeah, we get to see a couple classic shots of the mausoleum, and that's one of the things that's such a great visual when it comes to the Phantasm franchise, and it's so synonymous with Phantasm. You can't think of Phantasm without those scenes in the halls of the mausoleum, and the spheres going through the hall, with the little arrow things coming out of the ball and drilling into people's heads, and the blood pours out. And there's a lot of cool stuff like that in here. One of the zombies that attacks Reggie, the ball like comes out of her brain. That's nasty. There's blood everywhere. Actually, it's like yellow blood when you see the zombies. Their blood is yellow for some reason. Yeah, plenty of carnage with the spheres, plenty of great action, some great car chase scenes and stunts with the cars blowing up, and classic Reggie nonsense. Reggie's so much fun. He's such a cool dude that you would want to hang out with and smoke a bone with, you know. Jam some rock music, because we see him playing guitar in some of the movies. Such a cool dude. Yeah, I think this is a lot of fun. I will say that what a lot of people say about this film, and that's the character of Tim, the little kid that follows Reggie around, is kind of annoying. And yeah, I don't have any defense of that. He is kind of annoying. But thankfully, in the fourth film, Oblivion, they just completely write out his character, even though he is still alive at the end, you know. And Rocky kind of disappears too. Rocky doesn't appear in the fourth film for some reason. Even though they're both alive at the end, they don't make it to Phantasm 4 Oblivion. But what happens is, once Jody leads Reggie to the tall man's lair in the mausoleum, he does get Michael back. But the tall man ends up capturing him again, and he encases one of the spheres inside the brain of Mike, and now it's like controlling his brain and everything, and that's kind of where they leave it. And that's kind of where they set up the fourth film, which continues that storyline. So yeah, what do you guys think of Phantasm 3, Lord of the Dead? I thought it was a lot of fun. I think it's pretty much right in line with the second film, at least. I don't think it's as good as the first two, but it's right there, you know, it's not far off. I think it's a lot of fun, some great action, some great gore effects, some great horror, and really cool and fun film. So definitely check out Phantasm 3, Lord of the Dead. I give it 2 devil horns up, and thank you for joining me, Sean Patrick Erschen, in the Horror Corner. Tune in and stay scared. Folks, don't forget to grab your Sean Patrick Erschen gear and represent the Horror Corner. Also, check out these awesome mugs we have, perfect for your coffee. And definitely check out the Horror Hangout live stream t-shirt and represent the legacy of the Horror Hangout. Check out the link in the description below this video.